Okay. Well, it started. Hope.
Oh! Hi, I'm Courtney.
I'm Alison.
And we are Courtney and Alison of the Double X Files. And this guy over here is...
They already know who I am.
Oh, jeez. Such a diva.
No, that's just my Tony Stark persona. I'm Michael of all of the other podcasts. Let's see. Okay, let's see if I don't forget one.
Did we say 9?
I'm gonna start. I think it's 6. I'm gonna start with the Pullbox podcast because I always forget the Pullbox podcast, even though it's my favorite.
always remember that one.
And then we've got Rebels podcast, Frontlines the Clone Wars podcast, Quiver the Green Arrow podcast, 8 Bits of Destiny, and one day I will put out an episode of a regularly scheduled. So
6. So he
6.
is more boss than us.
Oh yeah, because we've just got the 1.
We have literally 1 and then 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So we're really hanging in there. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. The 3 of us are going to talk about our favorite thing. Well, one of our favorite things in the entire world, cryptozoology. And if you don't know what cryptozoology is, get on your Google machine and start Googling. Cryptozoology is the study of animals that we don't have enough proof that they exist. So one of the biggest ones that you and we know is Bigfoot. That would be Loch Ness Monster. Those are the kind of the big ones. So tonight we are going to talk about and discuss our favorite cryptids because we are really into it.
Oh yeah.
a little bit too much.
So much.
Even though it creeps us out, and getting to sleep this week has been rough.
Yeah.
Thinking about some of these things. I was walking home late last night. Well, it actually wasn't that late. It was like 9:30.
It doesn't matter.
But, it really didn't matter because once I was on the side streets over here by myself, thinking about having to record tonight. And thinking about the Dover Demon, I went I don't know why I had to go to that, but like my brain went to that. We'll talk more about that specifically, but it started like I started thinking like, what would happen right now? Oh, no. Like if I turned around the corner and something was just there, and how would I react? And it just like it drives me. Yeah. It drives me a little bit nuts because I have the overactive imagination, but it's the artist thing, right? So it just
I know.
It goes crazy, and I always say like the scariest thing for me is not like seeing a monster. I think would be less scary than just looking into like a dark hallway.
Oh god!
Because my brain will just like the first Paranormal Activity, because you never see the demon, you only see like evidence of it. Like that for me is way scarier than like I don't know I like a monster like The Host where you actually see the monster.
And that's scary about cryptids because there are sightings and I think the ones we picked there are many sightings. But there something is out there. We can't not argue that something is out there. We don't know exactly what.
The truth is out there.
Well, Hey! There's something out there in the woods.
Yes.
Maybe the woods by your house.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Any woods.
Any woods. And we have
to like right down the street here.
Like right
that way.
Yeah. I'm terrified to go outside afterwards. So like
we'll just stay here.
Okay. Thankfully it is still July, so like it'll be light until a good like 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
So it's not really that big a deal.
Well, before we start, I'm gonna ask the question. Have any of you had a cryptid encounter?
We did cover this in our last episode.
You have to tell that story.
The Double X Files. I don't think this really counts at all.
Well, it's a creature.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know. No, this is a very silly story that does not count. But when I was like 12, I went downstairs to my kitchen. I opened my fridge, and I probably just imagined that several small creatures came out of the fridge towards me and then ran away. And they were wearing, like, mice wearing human clothes. So
that's a cryptid.
That's not anything. That's a child with an overactive imagination.
Mike, have you seen anything weird?
Seen anything weird? That's a different question.
Well, okay. Have you seen a non-alien?
I've been to Star Wars Celebration 3 times.
Oh, jeez.
I've seen some weird stuff in my life. Have I ever seen a cryptid?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
No.
I did. I lived in the Okanagan in Penticton, which is at the bottom of Okanagan Lake, for about 8 years of my life, from 5th grade until graduation. So, I always kept an eye out the window for a famous cryptid,
which we're going to talk about.
We'll talk about later. But I never spotted him, her, however you want to put that.
Okay.
I never did, but I always kept my eyes open.
Because you want. Do you really want to though?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a theory, and this is a slight tangent, but it's pertinent. It's pertinent to ThunderQuack and to most of our podcasts. So I have a theory, and it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm big on the hero's journey. I think I talked about this maybe with you guys.
Yeah.
And that is that there's a thing in the hero's journey called the threshold, right? And it's the point where an ordinary character begins an adventure.
Yeah.
Right. And crossing the threshold is an important part of mythic storytelling.
Yeah.
And generally what happens is a character crosses the threshold and soon after discovers their own latent ability, or they're imbued with some sort of power, or like they find the strength within themselves. And then that's because that's the ultimate goal of the hero's journey, right? Is not just to defeat Darth Vader, but to become a Jedi, right? Yeah. So I have a theory that if I do ever encounter the Loch Ness Monster or spacemen or that's gonna knock you through or whatever, like that's the threshold, and that will also be the moment that my latent mutant powers unlock.
I like it.
And I can shoot optic blasts.
Oh my god!
Wow,
that is the power you would opt for?
It's not the one that I would opt for,
it's just
but
the one you think you're gonna get.
I think Maddie, one of my co-hosts on 8 Bits of Destiny, can attest to this. I have a lot in common with Cyclops.
Oh no!
I mean, like, think about it. I am the leader. Okay. I'm the leader of ThunderQuack. I bring together all this motley crew of individuals with all these different abilities, and then I train you guys to use your powers.
You just opened up a whole can of worms.
We're gonna put a lid on Cyclops, but I like your theory because I want to see Sasquatch and I want to have mutant powers. And we're gonna start this whole thing. So we're gonna go 3, 2, 1 sort of thing. Our number 3, our number 2, our number 1, and we also have honorable mentions, which are very special cryptids close to our hearts that are not as cool as the big names, but we still want to mention them. So I'm gonna start. My number 3 pick, and this is a cryptid that I think is as big as Sasquatch and Bigfoot, if not in some parts of the world bigger, but that's Chupacabra. And Chupacabra has been around for a very long time in mythology, but also in just regular sightings. So the biggest kind of rash of sightings started in 1995 in Puerto Rico. And unlike a lot of other cryptids, this thing, whatever it was responsible for hundreds of livestock dead. So just like fields of cows and chickens and goats and sheep every night would just be turned over, and they all had this kind of a similar death. Some sort of hole or thing in the neck, blood gone, not a lot of meat had been taken, and if there was a meat, it would usually be genital stomach area. Even there was like 2 guinea pigs that were taken by a little snack, I guess.
Yeah,
it's like a chocolate bar to a chupacabra.
Yeah.
I heard guinea pigs taste good, so I guess sweet meat. And it even got so bad in Puerto Rico that one of the mayors of the town actually raised a posse of volunteers to go hunt this thing down.
Oh wow!
And later on in 1996, or later on in Chile, they actually called in the National Guard to find this thing because of how much destruction there was in the livestock. Chupacabra made the leap to the mainland in Mexico in 1996, and then made its way up to Florida and Texas. But the weirdest thing to me is this kind of evolving descriptions of it. I don't know, like when I say chupacabra, do you guys get a picture in your head of like what?
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you see?
So generally large round head, bulbous eyes, 2 pointy teeth. Some descriptions have it as like sort of like a beaver, but but more like filed into a point, and others have it as like fangs, as 2 fangs. Wiry body, pale skin, and patchy fur. Okay. Like mangy, patchy, gross.
Yeah. And what do you see, Alison?
Pretty similar, like a sort of a leaf body, like similar to maybe like a very large chihuahua. A large and long chihuahua. Yeah. Somewhat emaciated, because I think while in photos you usually see the remains of what people think a chupacabra
I'll talk about that.
And sometimes, some sort of like a raised spine, or like sort of
like quills.
Like quills, or like a ridgeback hound kind of.
And it's funny
emphasis
because
on the spine.
going through kind of the sightings and what has happened. I mean, they've had sightings up from like 2008 of one kind of like sitting on a chicken coop and going through. But it started with a very alien-like creature, like big head, big eyes, and the spines, and almost reptilian, which is weird. But then it is evolving into this more dog-like, still hairless, but patches, like more like what you said, Mike. Patches of hair, skinny, long ears, kind of a elongated snout. And they attribute to this to what we've been starting to find recently in the last 10 years are these mangy, small coyotes. And we're not sure if they're connected, but there is a strain of coyotes out there, Mexico, Texas, kind of into the Florida panhandle, that are hairless for whatever reason. And they're kind of gross, but kind of cute, but they have these little teeth sticking out, and their eyes are very big because they're not covered in hair. Their ears look way more pointy than you would think. So that might account for the spines. So we've been picking up these kind of chupacabra type creatures here and there, or dead bodies have popped up, but we haven't caught one in the act of killing or quote unquote draining the blood, right? Yeah. I guess, I mean, if you make a hole in an animal's neck, the blood's gonna fall out anyway. So who knows if it's vampiric or whatever. So I mentioned in 2000, in Chile, there is a National Guard massive search for this thing. And they attributed this to the newspapers in South America just loving this thing. It is the Latin American Bigfoot.
Oh, wow.
And there's there's a cafe in Seattle, El Chupacabra Cafe, and I couldn't find my shirt, but they're awesome. Good burritos. But this thing is kind of a darling of Latin America, and who knows what it is. But I picked it as my number 3 because it's so widespread and the sightings are constant, and we do have an inkling of what it actually is, but we don't have pure evidence of what it is. So that's my number 3. Allison, what's your number 3?
Okay, so my number 3 is, despite being number 3, it is the one that scares me the most. And I have chosen the Wendigo for my number 3.
Oh yeah,
so this is something that goes back a long time. I think it originated in Algonquin legend. I have my notes. Gonna pull my notes out.
Eastern North America, right?
Yeah, Atlantic coast, kind of Great Lakes area.
Yeah.
And so this is a creature that has an almost human form, but there's a big emphasis on what they do that's scary, which is cannibalism.
They eat each other?
No, they eat humans, but there's a few different ways that the myth works. In one way, these are humans that have developed a craving for human flesh and become more beast-like because of it, because of the huge taboo on cannibalism in Algonquin society.
Oh.
And then in other myths, they're just creatures who sort of appear from nowhere. and hunt humans.
Guys,
in these deep dark
we all
woods.
looked outside because there's something creaking and crackling outside. Oh jeez,
Yeah,
it's light outside.
Noise happened.
Oh.
Crystal will be home at some point, and
We're all gonna freak out.
She'll come in through the door, so we'll all go, oh.
Yeah, so one thing that's really creepy about them is there's this idea that they're always hungry and they can never be satiated. So once they eat one human, they'll grow in size and they'll still be like their form will still be emaciated in some ways, no matter how many humans they eat. So there's this idea that a dualism of like being very full and constantly hungry at the same time.
And what did they look like?
Okay, so lots of different like conceptions, but I think the main one and the one that we see a lot in popular culture is that they are very human-like, but sort of elongated, tall bodies, sometimes long claws, like big fangs, just like a human that's turned beastly.
Ooh.
Kind of in that sort of way.
Ooh.
And it was interesting as I was reading because it almost, well, the Wikipedia page and other web pages talk about the Wendigo in a way that almost starts to sound a little zombie-like. Yeah, because one of the sort of myths about it, well, actually all the cultures that have myths about this share this idea where if a human being ever resorts to cannibalism, they could turn into a Wendigo. And then they sort of transform, they become violent and obsessed with eating human flesh, which is a very zombie-like concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
So this is early zombie stuff.
Yeah, so it's like a human who's done something which is like the ultimate taboo in their society. Actually, there was the idea that if you were starving and faced with the option of cannibalism, it's better to just starve than to keep yourself alive by eating other human.
So that poses the question: if you were in that situation, would you resort to cannibalism?
Oh, Foch, I would totally.
Would I eat a person? Probably,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so there's two situations. There's two scenarios.
Okay.
Right?
Lay it out.
The situation is basically that you've crash landed somewhere.
Yeah, let's do the alive situation.
Yeah, that's always kind of the way that it is.
Let's do that.
Crash landed, your airplane's crash landed somewhere, and in order to survive, you have to resort to eating another person. Now, is the person already dead, or does someone have to volunteer?
Ooh.
Because I would never kill someone
for the greater good.
Them. Yeah, but if a person was already dead, I think in that situation I could bring myself to do it.
To eat a steak, human steak, fu.
I
So
think
even I'm like, we are in like a meteor crash landed and this house is cut off from everything, and I say, guys, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. You can take a bite of this meaty thigh.
No, that's a different situation.
Because the talking is not so good.
No, but that's a totally different situation.
Oh, okay.
If you volunteer.
No, because you've introduced.
Immediately.
You've introduced an apocalypse into the situation.
Yeah, no, we're talking simply.
Okay. And an
an
apocalypse, like we're screwed. Like we're all screwed. We're all gonna die sooner or later.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
In that situation, it's not about survival. That's like who can stay alive the longest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that cancels it out.
Okay.
Like then it's like we're all gonna die. Like,
but in an alive situation.
But in a live situation where it's like we have to hold out until we're rescued.
Yeah.
Or until we can, build a shelter or whatever. Like until we can get our own resources going or be rescued, then
you can eat the dead things.
Then because there's an end game there.
Yeah.
But with an Armageddon scenario, then
it's different.
It's totally different because
it's not worth it.
If we're all gonna die eventually, why would you compromise yourself?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
True.
Like it's I don't know. In that instance, I would go the mist route of. I would man up and I would I would be the tough person. I would take it on the chin and kill everybody else and leave myself for last and have to.
I'd appreciate that
to commit suicide.
I'd appreciate that.
I just hope that it wouldn't be a full-on mist situation. Sorry, spoiler alert for The Mist.
Oh no.
If you haven't seen The Mist by now, that's your own fault. Yeah, like come on.
I don't think I could do it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in either situation, I would both eat someone who volunteered, eat someone who's already dead, and kill someone to eat them.
So you just got a hunger.
So great is my fear of death.
Yeah, okay.
That I'm going to be the last person standing.
See, now, okay, so I think that hinges a great deal on your idea of the afterlife.
Oh, don't have one.
Right? See, so there you go. So for me, like there's something.
Yeah,
I can't qualify
I love how
right.
this is creepy monsters, but it's also really very we're coming together as a society.
We're learning about
in that sort of. I don't ever want to be alone with Alison. I would be alone with Mike because he'd shoot me like, well, sorry, zombies. And I'm okay with that.
I'll see you in the XHQ.
Because. Oh, yeah, we're recording the Double X Files together in a very small basement. So if Alison gets hungry,
anything can happen.
I better have pizza. Okay, so I'm glad we had that conversation. That's super cool.
Yeah,
it's more mythology, and does that kind of mythology come like? I know, was there a supernatural?
I think there is, yeah. And that.
Oh yeah, the Wendigo is a recurring villain.
And that first episode with the Wendigo really got to me because I am someone who's spent a lot of my life camping in the woods, spending time in the woods, hanging out in the woods. So I'm used to, like getting up at 3 a.m., climbing into my tent, having to pee, going to a porta potty with only a flashlight. And just hearing things and feeling like I see things.
That's why I don't camp. This is exactly why I don't camp.
I can't.
It's for these reasons because, I do like the idea. Yeah. I have a hard time in my own home, which, look at the wall.
I know.
Look at the wall. There's colorful, bright video game characters on my wall. This is not the only wall that looks like
scary.
this.
No, not at all.
It is not a scary house. It's very fun and inviting, and I'm surrounded by superheroes.
But
you would think I would feel safe. Yeah, but
scary.
Every time I got to get up to go to the washroom or whatever in the middle of the night, it's always like. Getting there is fine. It's getting back. It's always getting back into the bedroom. It's because I've had the time to think about it.
Yeah.
So it's always the dash from the bathroom to the bedroom, and so that's why I really look forward to the day that we rent here, and eventually we plan to buy. And one of the biggest things is an ensuite, so that it's just like I can go to the washroom.
I gotta tell you, Mike, I had an ensuite. I had an ensuite. It's still there. That fear is
it still there?
I have an ensuite now, and I'm about to move somewhere that doesn't have one, and it's a really creepy old house.
Yeah, you have a murder house.
So.
See, I gotta go back. This might not be cryptid. I've ghost stories. Maybe we'll save that.
We'll save that for now.
Yeah,
because I got ghost stories.
Because in Penticton I did live in a very old house, and I got some ghost stories.
Okay. Why don't you do your number 3, Mike?
Okay, I left my notes over here.
Well, we're gonna take this. Oh, never mind. I was gonna plug the Double X Files, but I'll do that later.
Plug it.
I'll do it later.
Okay. I will take this opportunity to tell everybody that they should be tweeting at ThunderQuack Network. ThunderQuack Net.
I don't know.
ThunderQuack Net on Twitter at ThunderQuack Net, and let us know your favorite cryptids. Let us know your cryptid experiences. Who's watching?
We have 3 viewers.
We have 3 viewers.
I hope one of them is my husband, because if you're not watching, you better be.
And I also have to let people know that I'm spiritually in spirit double fisting these. I have both. Only one is opened. Only one's open because I'm not.
I'm sure you'll get through.
And I also don't want to have to pee 6 times. During the course of this.
Yeah, at one point.
Because I will be afraid and I'll have a hard time getting back over here.
No, you just run back real quick.
Yeah. Just leap over the coffee table and it's all good.
So why don't you do number 3?
So my number 3 is a cryptid that I find fascinating, but is not one to be afraid of. So it's a nice change of pace.
Because we're terrified right over here.
Yeah. So my number 3 is the Thunderbird, which is part of in particular Pacific Coast First Nation legend, especially the Haida. Very big in iconography for the Haida. We have Thunderbird Stadium, which is out at UBC because the Thunderbird is the mascot out there. So this is sort of having First Nations heritage in BC. I wanted to pick at least one animal or one cryptid that sort of taps into that.
Yeah.
Because I do think that with cryptids, there's a really cool connection. You talked a little bit about it with the Wendigo, that it tends to interconnect into folklore and mythology.
Mm-hmm. It does, for sure.
So the Thunderbird is, for those that don't know, is a mythological giant eagle, basically. But it kind of has like a big crest on it, and everywhere it goes, storms follow. So, so people would essentially pray to the Thunderbird, which they considered a god, a deity, and for rains and that sort of thing. As well as just like if you saw it would be like an omen of different things depending on the scenario. So it's a huge part of West Coast culture. And a big part of my heritage. So I really like that. The other part of it that I really like is that some people have, I say, and this is where we get into some territory where is this the Thunderbird or is this two different cryptids going by the same name? And there is a little bit, we'll get into that a little bit later in my number one pick. But some people see it as more reptilian and as more of a pterodactyl.
Okay.
And that would explain why the Thunderbird in mythology has a crest. Right? Yeah. But if you were a First Nations artist, if you were a Haida artist and you were creating the iconography of it, like if you look at Haida art, it doesn't matter if an animal is scaly or furry or whatever, like they all have it all like has the same sort of stylized look. So based on that sort of hieroglyphic nature of it, the pictographic nature of it, it could go either way. Like maybe what they were seeing was actually a pterodactyl. Maybe it was like a holdover from cool. like part of like a Lost World type scenario. Lost World, the scientific theory, not the Jurassic Park movie, which a Lost World is an enclosed ecosystem where extinct species can exist and thrive. So the idea that somewhere in the world there might be this place where these creatures are still around. And in fact, if you look at around the world, different cryptid sort of mythologies and that sort of thing, there are actually a lot of stories of dinosaurs that still walk the earth, especially in Africa. There's a lot. A lot of different cryptids that the descriptions match dinosaurs, like Stegosaurus or like a Diplodocus or whatnot. And it's only in recent years that people have discovered this, and these cryptids go back like hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. And there's like all these old sort of historic, like cave painting type indicators that these cryptids have been around for a long time. So it's possible that a pterodactyl, a dactylian cryptid is responsible for the Thunderbird mythology.
There is I in Pacific Northwest, but there is a connection, I thought, too, to the Southwest as well.
There is, in Southwest Native American stories, there is a Thunderbird there as well. But it's not like different. They might not be the same thing. Because there's also Quetzalcoatl in South America, which is the same thing. But Quetzalcoatl is often referred to as more of a flying serpent. But it is elementally based, and there's a lot of like thunder and lightning and electricity tied into that mythology as well.
It's cool that you say that, because one of the things that I was really into is like 1800s, when the Pony Express first came out, like the first postcards. And one of the things that people love to do to send back to the East Coast was kind of create fake, like, I killed this bird, or this bird was killing my crop. And one of the things was like a dinosaur-like reptilian, and they called it the Thunderbird. And there was a rash of like people taking photos or recreating it or drawing it and sending it back. That I hunted this, and you can see them online now. But I never kind of connected those two together before. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's neat.
The other, because there have been more recent sightings of animals that people think might be thunderbirds.
Yeah.
But some people say that they're more than likely stellar sea eagles, which can have 6 to 9 foot wingspans.
Oh my goodness.
So like there's a cool element to cryptozoology where a cryptid is only a cryptid until we have enough evidence to prove that it's an actual animal.
Yeah.
Right. And then it just becomes an animal, and then it just becomes part of zoology. And that for a lot of cryptozoologists, that's kind of the hope, and that's where I think like a lot of mainstream science looks down on cryptozoology as this weird science. I mean, you guys are talking about the X-Files, and Mulder is very much treated in that way. Even though 3 episodes in, right? Because I'm watching for the first time, so 3 episodes in, he's been right every single time.
Well,
right-ish. Yeah,
maybe
but
not clever.
Not
yeah.
yet.
But and I mean more through luck and happenstance than anything. I mean, like he's like I'll bet you anything he's eating livers to stay alive forever. That's a big leap, Mulder. That's a real big leap. But okay. Anyways,
you were mentioning the cryptozoology and pandas, giant pandas, gorillas, and it's not okapi, is it?
Yeah.
Is it okapi? Those were all these mythical creatures that were found 1920, 1930, 1940.
The thing that I always like to remind people of is that in sort of early history, especially in the West, like thinking mostly in Europe, in Western Europe, stories of animals from Africa were considered fantastical.
Yeah.
So the idea of a lion was so striking that eventually it was adopted as the crest of the royal family, right? Because it was like alongside dragons and unicorns and other sort of like mythological
You don't think
animals,
about that,
because like you'd never see one. It's somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who once hunted one, and it's sort of the same as that sort of colonial era it's a rumor mill. It's like this weird game of animal telephone of like I shot this bird, and it was like, hey, be honest, it was a big vulture, right? But no, it had a reptilian head. Well, no, it just didn't have feathers on its head, right? Like you sort of start to see where some of these cryptids come from, and that's one of the reasons why I really like the Thunderbird, because there are just as many logical explanations for it as there are fantastical explanations. So it's something, I don't know, it's something to kind of believe in, but you can kind of get around the logic of it by saying like, oh, it's more than likely just these stellar sea eagles that are like a 9-foot wingspan. Think about a 9-foot wingspan. I'm 5'11". That's another 3 feet on me from wing to wing. Like
that's a lot.
That's a big animal, and I think people are often very surprised when they see a big bald eagle in real life. It is very big, because they are huge. They're huge. They're massive.
And we're as humans not really great at describing things sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure. And the big fish, like I said, telephone game, right? It's very much the big fish theory of like, well, when you caught it, it was this big, but when you tell a story, it's this big. And when you tell the story the 10th time, it's suddenly.
Because my number one cryptid is suffers from a little of that, I think. So we've got a good round of number 1. Please, we have 4 viewers now.
Huzzah!
Hey guys!
So please
Crystal
make sure.
Might be one of those. She might be watching wherever she's eating dinner right
now. Make sure you tweet us, and Mike will keep track of that, and we will like answer.
That's why I have my phone. I'm
he's not like
I'm managing Twitter.
So make sure you do, and we'll answer your questions or like talk about cannibalism again if that's what you're into. I don't know. So let's do number 2.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is I used to live in New England. I lived in New England for I don't know, my high school years, and this guy. I swear I have seen, actually.
Oh
I've never told you this story.
You have never told me this story.
I'm
so excited.
I'm actually gonna save it for episode 5 of the Double X Files podcast, which you can listen to episodes 1 through 3. So I'm gonna save that story for episode 5.
I'm so excited.
That I swear that I saw this next cryptid. This next cryptid is the New Jersey Devil, also a horrible, horrible hockey team. And this guy, the devil started up. It's kind of neat because you have a variety of origin stories for this thing, but it's always kind of the same sort of. It's always the same recipe. 1700s. You have a woman, her and family, and they're the Leeds family, Leeds. And they live in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. And these people did exist. Like, the records show Mr. Leeds owned land. I think it was called the Great Egg area of the Pine Barrens. And poor lady, she is used to having a lot of babies. And some people say this was her 6th baby, or some people say it was her 13th baby. But whatever the reason, she kind of, as one would do after 13 babies come out of you, you say, you know, I hope it's a devil. And she's swearing and talking about it. It's said that this baby was deformed, which after, again, 13 babies, and she was a little bit older. Yeah, that's reasonable. It was also said that either this baby, they kept it up in the attic, and it escaped later on in its life, or they kind of threw it outside and it lived out its life in the forest. Now, this concept of the Jersey Devil, that's kind of mythical. Like, it's kind of very, 1700 devil, horse head, horns, wings, very Jabberwocky-like.
Thought we had a tweet for a second, but it just turned out that it was me retweeting myself. Continue.
Okay.
No, that was good. I like that. But the cool thing is, and I love this cryptid, because the people who have claimed to see it, the list of people who have claimed to see it, are extraordinary. My top 2 favorite people who claimed to see this thing was number 1, 1819, President James Monroe.
Well, there you go.
And
That's pretty credible.
Isn't that cool? He was.
Who knows? Like, I don't know much about James Monroe.
He was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
In as terms of presidents go, he was inspecting in New Jersey. They had a cannonball factory, so he's kind of,
as you do,
as well. Where else do you put make cannonballs? New Jersey.
Do you think they just fall out of the sky?
No, they have to make them.
Paint a coconut black.
Oh, boing. He was inspecting the cannonball factory, and him and 15 other men working in the factory saw this horse-headed, flying, leaping creature on the top, and they actually fired a cannonball at it.
What?
I know. So cool. It did not hit the creature. The creature kind of scurried off. It went through the roof of the cannonball factory, though. So
That's awesome.
so that wasn't one. My second favorite sighting of the Jersey Devil was in 1820. Not Emperor Napoleon, but his older brother.
Wow.
Was hunting in the area, and as those type of Frenchmen do, and him and 3 other of his closest men, they were hunting deer, and they found this thing that obviously was not a deer. It was big. Again, it had these kind of horse-headed, they describe it as horns, very tiny wings, and it kind of scampered off. So you have 2, a president and a brother of an emperor, claiming, among other things. The Jersey Devil was part of livestock killing, 1840 through 1887. and it kind of died off for a while. The biggest one recently, there was been a couple. 1990, some soldiers in Fort Dix swore that they saw it. Again, they were out training and they saw a thing that wasn't a deer because it was up in a tree, but it was very deer-like and it kind of leapt from tree to tree. Very weird, especially soldiers who are trained to know the area. There's been sightings as far north as New Hampshire and far west as Pennsylvania. But even in 2007, 2008, you have groups of hikers claiming to see this thing. It's not a bear, it's not a cougar, it's not a deer. Deer don't go up in the trees like that. And actually, the most recent one was a couple years ago. A farmer had one in his chicken coop. And it kind of, it didn't fit, and it kind of scampered out, and it was scared because of the cell phone ringing. So there is something. The worst kind of week was in 1909, where literally thousands of people came to see this, and they had tracks. That one's kind of hokey because you can look up, it's called the Phenomenal Week, where there's these, hundreds and hundreds of sightings of this thing. So much so that like a trolley car was attacked by one, and and all the trolleys in the city shut down because one trolley car got attacked by the Jersey Devil. Who knows?
It's a good thing that the Ghostbusters fell through a time portal that week.
No kidding.
And then they stopped it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd probably still be out there.
I mean, you can look up the newspapers, and there's hoofed footprints because they devil sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, where do these footprints come from? So obviously there is pieces of pranksters even in 1909. What they claim that this thing is, you're going to hear this name again. If you look up Google sandhill crane, and Google like its call, it's very large. It's like a heron. It has eyes, but it has red kind of around its eyes. It's got a long head. It feels like a heron, and its call is crazy scary. It doesn't sound like a bird. Because it's so big, because it's not usually seen in that area, it's very, very threatened, at least, that people think that was it. And actually, I'm going to come back to it because the other monster that's on my list, people think that's it. But the other one is a hammer-headed fruit bat.
What is that?
Is the hammer-headed fruit bat?
Yeah, check it out.
Sounds amazing.
I'm looking it up.
It's adorable. I love bats. So fruit bats are giant, right? Like they're pretty big. But this guy has like a rhino kind of.
Oh yeah, he's got like a big schnoz.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A hammer-headed fruit bat. Look it up. 5 viewers. It's really cute. It's so cute.
It's, you guys, you have to see.
Here, I'm gonna. Let's see if we can.
Look, there you go. It's so cute.
Yeah, it looks like it's got like a moose nose.
It does have a moose
nose.
Now,
it should be a moose-headed fruit bat.
Now we, as a North American society, we have lots of bats, but that bat is not native to our world in New Hampshire and New England and that sort of thing. So how did that get there? I don't know.
Where are they? Oh, they're from Africa.
They're from Africa. Now, I mean, it's not unknown,
unheard of
that something may or may not have gotten out, because 1909, like that's the year that like everyone's hunting everything and there's like lions running around.
Well, and who's to say that there wasn't a bat at the time?
Yeah.
And now there's not, because in 1909 they killed them all.
They killed them all.
They made real sure there weren't no more hammer-headed bats in New England.
But it's kind of neat. And
attacking trolleys and stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I love
trying to go to work.
Guys, please. Is there any room? Move on. I like the New Jersey Devil because of how prevalent the sightings were. Who saw it? I mean, James Monroe firing a freaking cannonball at it, that's hilarious. Trolley attacks, that's hilarious. But the fact that we're still kind of seeing this thing, and actually, I have a theory.
Oh.
I have a theory. And I read about this that the Jersey Devil is kind of a connecting animal species to the chupacabra.
Oh.
You know how we have Yeti and Bigfoot and Sasquatch and skunk ape and etc.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Okay, we'll get to it. I'm sorry. He's very excited.
Things are getting heated.
There's a theory that whatever this thing is, it is throughout North America and Latin America. It's the same creature-esque sort of thing, maybe same genus. But what we are seeing is of the same family. And the Jersey Devil and chupacabra, kind of their descriptions. Chupacabra is very much smaller, doesn't have the wings, but the original description of Jersey Devil and kind of the new description of chupacabra really connect in really weird ways. Yeah, we learned something today.
I have a question.
Go on.
Okay, so the Jersey Devil that people are seeing more recently, is it all part of the same myth that people are thinking that this is the same one that was born from a human woman in the 1700s?
Well, there's the mythology of the Jersey Devil.
Yeah,
and then there's the Jersey Devil, the cryptid.
But I'm just wondering, is this one overarching mythology, or are there lots of different theories about what this beast is that people are seeing? Modern cryptozoologists have agreed that this isn't the same thing. If Leeds did burr the devil, this is not the same thing. Okay, cool.
But it has to have a breeding population, whatever it is. It has to have a breeding population because it's been around for so long. And there's rashes.
If it's an animal, not something supernatural.
Yeah, and not something supernatural. And you can argue that maybe it is a.
Sorry, I gotta be the molder in this group, obviously, because you are full Scully.
Oh, I'm
100%
Scully.
And I'm pretty hardcore molder.
I'm supposed to be the molder.
Well, I'm too scared to be either.
It's okay. You can be our smoking man.
I've only seen him in one episode, so I don't really know his motive. But
no, you've seen him in a couple because you're always like, "Is that Smoking Man? Is that
he's smoking?"
And I'm like, "He's smoking, and he's a man." So maybe.
And you know what? If you're seeing smoking men in episodes, then you've seen a smoking man.
Yeah,
so, we're talking about cryptids, so if you've seen something, you've seen something. Whether or not that something is something else or not is open for debate.
Are you saying the smoking man is the cryptid?
I think he might be.
Well, he should be my number 3.
If you've seen something, say something to us on Twitter right now.
Yes, do it.
We believe you.
I
believed Alison's small mice in the...
That was a stretch. I don't really think I saw borrowers, but it is possible.
Yeah, and if you want to hear my Jersey Devil story, you have to listen to episode 5 of the Double X Files, which is coming up, I don't know, 2 weeks?
You got to go to doublexfiles.com.
It's really freaky. It involves an ex-boyfriend.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
We're going to get the hot gossip.
Yeah, I don't even think my husband knows the story.
Ooh.
Ruh-roh.
Maybe because it involves my ex-boyfriend. Okay, Miss.
Breaking Up Families at ThunderQuack Podcast Network.
We're learning stuff.
Let's move on.
He's not listening.
Okay, so my
number 2. We just lost him.
It's going. Oh no! I'm gonna get a call.
Okay, so my number 2 is the very creative.
Oh no, he's back. Sorry.
It comes and goes.
Welcome back. The very excitingly named Pope Lick Monster.
Oh yeah.
That is POPELICK Monster. And this is
Monster the surname?
Yes. Lick is his middle name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It's a family name. What are you gonna do, right?
You can't.
It's his mom's maiden name.
Oh,
Miss Lick.
Okay. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's very similar to the Jersey Devil.
Really?
In, sort of that satanic mythology. Because it is half man, half goat. Classic. And so what this guy's deal is, he lives under a train trestle in Floyd's Fork Creek in the Fisherville area of Louisville, Kentucky. He is a half man, half goat, half sheep. 3 halves. He lives under a trestle. And there are a few different ideas about what he does under that trestle and also how he got there.
Okay, so I had to ask the most important question.
Yes.
As you always do when it's a half.
Yeah.
Which halves are what? Like, is it a bottom half goat, top half man? Because if it's a bottom half goat, that's just a satyr, and I'm good with it. I'm not worried, right? Like, that's just Philoctetes from Hercules. So we're all good.
Danny DeVito.
But yeah, Mr. Tumnus, if you're into Narnia, which I'm not.
Yeah, so what is he have?
I think that he is supposed to be sort of like classic satyr-like.
Okay.
Because
so go. Okay.
So like
Colin is watching and he doesn't know the story. He just messaged me on Facebook to let me know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Well, Colin, you're gonna have to listen to episode 5 of the Double X Files to find out.
So I think we're talking like a goat head. We got like a man's chest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then probably goat legs with hooves.
Yeah.
That is what I think.
Okay.
So very Jersey Devil-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So people think
If he's got little bat wings, he could be related.
that would be amazing.
His cousin.
Just like flap around.
Yeah.
So people think what he does is he uses either hypnosis or voice mimicry to lure people onto this train trestle so that they will inevitably get hit by a train.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Also, other legends. So this guy, one reason that I like him is there's so many legends about A, how he came to be,
Yeah.
and 2, what he does. So some people think he lures people by various methods onto the trestle to get hit by a train. Other people think he just runs around with a bloodstained axe, like offing people.
Oh
Like,
my god.
if that's the case, why the trestle, right, dude?
Yeah. Why even bother?
Why bother with the trestle?
He's dramatic.
So,
Where is he from?
Kentucky.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe real estate's at a premium, but in Kentucky, I don't think so.
They don't even have electricity.
Sorry, Kentucky, but fried chicken. That's basically what we got.
And then
A derby. You race some horses.
That's it. 2 things.
mint juleps.
And the Pope Lick Monster.
Oh yeah, mint juleps.
Oh, there you go.
And then the other thing that he does is apparently he walks along this trestle, and if people see him, they're driven to just jump right off by the madness that is invoked in their brain from the mere vision of him.
How many sightings has he had? That's really creepy.
That is a good question.
You get the creepy ones.
It's sort of like a local tale that's been passed down, so I don't think there's a definitive number of sightings, but I think it's like my cousin's cousin saw him and everyone has a story like that.
Okay.
And then the other thing that's really cool is the different ways that he's supposed to have come to be. So one of the main 3 is that he was a circus freak who vowed revenge after being mistreated.
That's my favorite already. Okay.
Circus freaks always vowing revenge on.
Right? Well, they're like, always being mistreated.
Like you went into this line of work.
They didn't know.
You had to expect a certain amount of mistreatment.
Everyone deserves to be treated with respect.
No, I absolutely agree. But if you're going to be a garbage man, you're going to touch some garbage. It's just, it comes with the territory. It's an occupational hazard. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Well, I will never
That's
become a
Sorry, circus freaks. It's time to get real.
Oh, no.
Wow.
It's just, I'm just putting it out there.
Mic drop. Done.
Okay. The number.
I think the circus freak community would back me up on that.
Yeah. Okay. If you're a circus freak,
write in.
Yeah, I don't have any specific evidence, but
I'm just making broad generalizations.
People are used to that right now.
So what was the other things?
The other ways that people think he came about is that he is a monster escaped after a train derailed on the trestle. So that explains the trestle. Previous one did not explain the trestle.
Okay.
And then my favorite one is that he's a monster who's really the twisted, reincarnated form of a farmer who sacrificed goats in exchange for satanic powers. That's my favorite.
What would you sacrifice goats for?
Complicated. You would sacrifice goats to Satan, as you do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like for a better
good crops and whatnot.
And for good crops and whatnots. And but I like it because it's almost like there's an angry goat god who's like, don't sacrifice my people, and then turns him into this twisted creature. So it's like the goats have had their revenge.
Oh, I like that one. Even better than the circus freak.
Still nothing to do with a trestle.
Well, okay, but as soon as you saw that, I paired up like the 3 Billy Goats gruff.
Oh,
and the troll underneath the bridge.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together. You guys.
Do you think that's a thing? Like that's where the story came from?
It's very possible.
Someone Google it.
In anything that I've read.
He could just be a kind of troll. Maybe he's just a troll that wears furry pants. Because that would explain why he's got horns on
He
the
got
head.
them at Value Village.
Right? The
You can buy
goat
those.
sort of thing.
Could be.
Burly
Oh my
looking
God.
face.
Maybe he's just in like cosplaying all the time.
Yeah.
24/7. He's cosplaying Mr. Thomas.
Yeah. Just a big Narnia fan. That's it.
That's all.
Problem solved.
Just
You can
get
close
him,
that
just
X
get him
file.
some Turkish
Just
delight
close
and he'll leave
that.
us all
We
alone.
did it.
Well, I'm glad we are solving issues tonight.
Yeah.
My thing. Okay, so your second explanation involves the trestle,
Yeah.
which is key because it's like, well, why
Why
the
is he on
trestle?
the trestle?
Other than just trestles are cool. I mean, like feats
Oh,
of engineering,
they're
right?
super
So
Is the trestle in the middle of the woods?
It is, and the thing is,
it's like over a ravine.
so many
of some
people
sort.
have like come to check out this trestle and,
Yeah.
and do what is called legend tripping.
What is that?
It's what I think it's when you go to a place that a legend is said to happen. You
That's
try to like
cool.
make it happen, or you try to see something.
I went to the Sleepy Hollow, the covered bridge once.
Did you see them filming the TV show?
No,
That's
the
such a good show.
Oh.
I
okay.
love it.
Go
I love
on.
it.
I'm
Go
sorry.
I love it.
Yeah, so many people go to this trestle and like get in accidents and stuff, and
Well,
then
don't be fooling around with trestles.
they put up an 8-foot fence around it.
Yeah, good call.
So
Good call,
I mean, that's
Kentucky.
just-
I'm back on your side.
that's just perpetuating the myth then.
Well, no, they put up the trestle so that people wouldn't, or they put up the fence so that people wouldn't get on the trestle and fall off to their death.
Because the
Because
troll.
Because of the Pope Lake Monster.
Mm.
Why did I call him that? I don't know.
Well, Pope Lick is
So-
the
sorry,
area
so-
of.
Well, it's not. It's Floyd's Fork.
I gotta
Why
go
is it
back.
Pope Lick?
Oh, because the trestle is called Pope
I
Lake.
gotta
Yeah,
go
that's
back to
right.
explanation number 2.
Okay, yeah.
That it is a monster that escaped from a derailed
Yeah,
train.
but why was the
Why was
monster
there
in
a
the
monster on a train?
I don't know.
How
He
the
was-
monster? That is the more important question
He
to
was
ask.
captured on a trolley in New Jersey.
Yeah,
and they were
shoved in a train,
Gotcha.
went over the Pope Lick, and he's like, "I'm getting out of here."
They
Yeah.
were like,
And then
you
he
know
just
what?
stayed there.
You know what? We can't deal with this up in New Hampshire. We got too much beer to make, and so
Never
they
saw
cider, really.
Skate cider beer, whatever. Like that's they like their fermented beverages.
They sure
up
do.
there
They sure do.
In the Atlantic.
New England.
area, yeah. So they shoved him on a train and
Yeah.
went, "We'll make this Kentucky's problem." And he got to Kentucky, and then in Kentucky, I'm gonna wager that the Pope Lick Monster, who we now know is actually the Jersey Devil, in his loneliness in the wilderness of Kentucky,
Yeah.
could only seek solace in the loving arms of a local coyote.
Oh, I see
Bred
where
with
you.
the coyote.
I see
You
where
got
you're going
some
with
crossbreeding
this.
going on.
Oh.
And now that's where the chupacabra comes from.
Oh,
That's
Guys,
the
we solved
connection. I just missing link. I don't think so.
And what's really weird is the amount of cryptids in that area,
Yeah.
in West Virginia and Kentucky, is outstanding. It's crazy.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that people really like alcohol.
No,
No.
not at all.
No,
Or
not
that
at
they're
all.
really bored
Poorly educated.
and
in
poorly
some cases.
educated.
Sorry, we're in Canada, and
we're just
Sorry.
taking Kentucky to task.
sorry, not all
Rod.
of Kentucky,
Not all.
but I'm pretty
Not
sure.
all.
Louisville?
I'm pretty sure wherever the Pope Lick Monster is from, probably not high test scores.
Oh,
Sorry, Louisville.
sorry. No, Louisville's nice. I've been to Louisville.
Well,
Okay. Okay.
I don't have statistics to back that up.
We have 6 viewers. I hope one of them isn't from Kentucky.
I think our chances are pretty solid.
We'll see. Go ahead, Mike. Why don't you
Number 2 on my list.
I really have to pee, but you're gonna go.
Okay. That's okay, because I'm going to get creepy.
Oh, good.
On mine.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the Dover Demon.
Oh, I hate this one.
Okay, so the Wikipedia entry for the Dover Demon is so succinct
oh.
and I'm not going to say well written, but well enough that I'm just going to read you guys the first paragraph of the Wikipedia entry for the Dover Demon, because I think it just explains everything, and then we can discuss.
Okay.
So 17-year-old William Bartlett claimed that while driving on April 21st, 1977, he saw a large-eyed creature with tendril-like fingers and glowing eyes on top of a broken stone wall on Farm Street in Dover, Massachusetts. 15-year-old John Baxter reported seeing a similar creature in heavily wooded area on Miller Hill Road the same evening. Another 15-year-old, Abby Brabham, claimed to have seen the creature the following night sitting upright on Springdale Avenue. The teenagers all drew sketches of the alleged creature. Bartlett wrote on his sketch, "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles."
Whoa. So creepy.
"That I saw this creature." According to the Boston Globe, the locations of the sightings, plotted on a map, lay in a straight line over 2 miles.
Oh my goodness.
And if
so
you look
it's a path that,
yeah.
like you break that down, like it chronologically, like it's a straight line, like it was moving somewhere.
And Google the Dover Demon right now, all of you, because it is.
Yeah. So the Dover Demon is in straight up cryptid territory.
Yeah.
There's no, actually, it's not entirely true. There is a possibility that the Dover Demon was a foal, which is a young deer. Is that?
Well, foal is a young horse.
A young horse. Sorry. Yeah. And that's what they were saying, because a young horse, young animals of that kind, the hoof type animals, they have like very long, like sort of stringy looking appendages, limbs. And so if you were to see one in the middle of the night just kind of hanging out, you'd maybe be a little bit freaked. But so like the things for me that don't match up with that, glowing eyes, really important. And this is the thing, is that all three of these eyewitnesses gave consistent eyewitness testimony, and they don't know each other. Like that's the thing, is that these three kids do not know one another. They all gave very, very similar eyewitness testimony, and it's over the course of basically 24 hours that this happened. So glowing eyes, it doesn't say it in this part of the entry, but it has 3 eyes. So it has like the 2 and then like 1 in the center.
I didn't know that.
And then the tendril-like fingers is where like you tell me like a foal or like a young deer or something like that. That doesn't mesh with me because where are you getting these tendril-like fingers from?
And it was kind of standing next, like holding a tree.
Yeah. So and in one of these encounters, it was sitting upright. Sitting upright on Springdale Avenue. So it was just like sitting there, and so I think, I don't know. For me, there's enough eyewitness testimony here that certainly these 3 kids saw something.
Yeah.
And the straight line over 2 miles sort of lends a little bit more credibility to it, because there's a timeline of events, which is really important in trying to establish credibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That it's not just one person who saw it, or a series of sightings over a long stretch of time, or sightings influenced by previous sightings.
Yeah, it was all within.
It was all within that basically 24-hour period, April 21st, 1977, until the next night. And they were separate eyewitness testimonies and unrelated. So that to me is where you get into the territory of, certainly these kids saw something. Yeah. What was it? You can't say for sure, because it's just eyewitness testimony. There's no physical evidence of it. But that testimony, and I think like a lot of people will probably first seize on the fact that it's a 17-year-old and 2 15-year-olds. Yeah. And automatically try and discredit them. But I'll just say, remember back to being 17 or 15 and how that felt to be discredited in that way. And now imagine if you had seen this creature and then people tell you, oh, geez, that's not what happened. Well, that's not what you saw. You just saw an animal. You just think you saw something else, right?
I read an article about the first kid who saw it. He's now older. Yeah. And it's almost kind of ruined his life.
Yeah, Bill Bartlett. Yeah. That's why it's got his quote, "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature." Yeah. And so like that's some conviction, right? Like, and whatever that means to you is irrelevant. What it means to him is what's important. Scared, is that like this is a thing that he saw, and he swears that he saw it, like beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. So For me, that just means that I will never go to Dover, Massachusetts. Like that is.
I've been to Dover.
That's clear to me. It's like creepy. You're not going to go there. You know what? To be perfectly honest, I don't ever want to go to Massachusetts at night ever.
Oh no,
ever.
It's horrifying.
Ever.
That's terrible.
Because it's just like, and I mean, like we're going to get into it because I think that our number ones are both BC based. So we're not exactly far from cryptids here, but our cryptids here. They're
chill.
They're generally
chill.
Generally
cool.
really cool,
yeah.
and I'm sure if you met one, they would just hang out. And,
pop some beers with you.
Yeah,
Basically.
Like, I'm not too worried about it.
You know
right?
what? You're right. New England.
But the Jersey Devil, the Dover Demon, these are not cats that you want to hang out with.
No, they are.
You don't want to do business with these
They're
individuals.
Horrifying.
So for me personally, as someone who does have I was raised in the church and I do have a belief system that's built off of that foundation. So demonology is something that I take seriously.
Yeah.
It is something that's absence of proof is not proof of absence. So when it comes to things like demons, exorcism, demon possession, I don't often joke about that sort of stuff because there is enough possibility in my mind that it is real that you just don't mess with it. You just don't mess with it. At one point, a friend of mine gave me a book on because I'm also into like Christian mythology, as it's referred to, and in particular angels and real angels, not chubby little cherubs with their baby faces and their whatnot. In the Bible, cherubs are actually described as being like 3-headed lions. With wings. And
that turns Valentine's Day into something else.
It's in Revelation. You just pick up your local Bible and check out Revelation.
One per town.
There may be one in your hotel room right now.
Just if you're in a hotel room watching this right now.
So do you believe like the Dover demon is literally something supernatural in that?
So the Dover demon actually, like, it fits the description of a lot of different types of demons.
It fits for me a description of like an alien as well.
It does work for aliens as well.
For me, it fits a description of a type of lemur called an eye, which lives
in
Madagascar.
Yeah.
People that live in Madagascar used to think was a demon because of how strongly it resembled a demon, and they have one particularly long finger that they use to get termites out of logs. And people for a really long time thought if it pointed at you, you were cursed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So so like there's absolutely every possibility that this is just creepy Massachusetts creeping people out on overdrive like it does with the tall thin trees and like just I don't even have to see it, I just have to think about it. Describing it,
like already upset.
Just like those birch trees and stuff.
It's the image of driving down the road and you're turning a corner and your headlights just go flash and you're like, that is not supposed to be. That is terrifying to me. Terrifying.
But
I'm driving home tonight, so that's gonna be great.
Oh no!
You're like 5 minutes away.
I'm driving Alison. She lives in Vancouver. It's gonna be really scary.
Yeah, we are in the middle of the city.
No,
you're gonna be all right.
I live past a park.
You'll be all right.
I live near trees.
You're gonna be okay. It's fine.
Okay. Dover Demon is super cool because of the description and because of, you're right, like 3 people.
Yeah.
Same time period.
It's that timeline that does.
Oh yeah, it's creepy.
Is that straight line over 2 miles?
Yeah.
It's like that thing was going somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know where it ended up. Right? Like,
Courtney, I think we should write a musical about it.
Cryptozoology, the musical?
No, about the Dover Demon.
What he was doing?
We'll call it I, Billy Bartlett.
I, Billy Bartlett?
Yeah.
Done.
That's a good.
Watch out for this.
You might want to check with Billy Bartlett that he's cool with that.
Well, we didn't check with George R. Martin.
No, we didn't.
That's fair.
It's funny because the Dover Demon, reminds me of. Well, okay. The creepiest thing about this thing is the drawings.
Yeah.
it's so again, Google the drawings.
If you don't want to sleep tonight.
If you don't want to sleep tonight.
Look, if you've got like a term paper or an art project that you really need to stay up tonight, you don't need coffee, you don't need caffeine pills.
It's just like
the iced tea. Just look up these pictures of the Dover Demon.
Have you seen
because
it?
No, you will not sleep tonight.
Do it right now.
You will not sleep.
I don't think I have any service.
It's really cute.
No, it is not.
It's funny because I consider its cousin to be the Hopkinsville Goblins.
Yeah.
And the Hopkinsville Goblins, they have the same kind of drawing, but it's literally like a Pac-Man head and 2 cute little eyes. This thing is gross.
Oh yeah, it's like a if anybody knows what Slender Man is, it's very similar. Yeah. And in fact, I would say that Slender Man, because Slender Man was made up. Yeah. Slender Man is a modern
from somethingawful.com.
it's a meta sort of internet
but this thing, man,
phenomenon.
Not great.
I think that Slender Man and a lot of the stuff over on Creepypasta, over on their wiki, they're very much informed by things like the Dover Demon, which are real. Something or others. Yeah.
Did you get to see it?
I didn't know.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure you should hook her up.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do it. I'll put myself through the horror.
It's gross. You've seen it. It's ingrained in your mind already.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, it's fine. Might as well
ruin me.
Okay. So while Mike ruins Allison, everyone's good. We're good for like bathroom breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we're about to go through number 1. I made a pun. I just do myself.
Okay, so maybe I'm thinking of something else with the 3 eyes, but because these drawings are all 1 eye.
Oh, that one. Are you
guys ready?
That one.
If you don't want to see it, look away right now.
Your mouse.
Oh, can you not see it?
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Oh, yeah,
it's creepy.
That's not great. That's not great.
So it does have that alien connection, for sure. But I don't know. There's something else about this.
Oh God.
These other ones are something else. That's a creepy.
So I can see how that would be an eye though.
Yeah, I can see that.
You should Google eye.
Yeah, Google eye.
AYE.
They're cute. But it does kind of look like that. So I'm gonna go with number. Oh, are you looking at
saw things on his phone?
Oh yeah.
And I went. Ugh.
My number 1 is just like for you. That the picture of it.
Though.
I know.
The picture of it kind of creeps me the heck out.
Okay.
And it actually has a connection with other cryptids in the area.
I don't know what you're talking about because these guys are adorable.
But if you saw one at night in the middle of Madagascar bush.
Okay. So this is a creepy eye, right?
Oh, that is
that's gonna creep you out if you see that staring at you from a bush. But I mean that's a cartoon, so that doesn't count. But come on. I'll take 2, please.
I don't want to hurt you.
People have sugar gliders for pets. Sugar gliders
true.
are they're
sketchy.
They're cute. No,
sugar gliders are adorable.
They are really.
You're talking to 2 people who like bats. So
Yeah,
I think bats are adorable.
Oh,
bats are cute.
They're so cute.
Flying foxes.
Okay, speaking of flying, slightly maybe furry things, I'm gonna go with my number 1, which is the Mothman.
Oh boy,
the Mothman. And I'm not.
There's another one that legitimately freaks me.
Oh, it's the picture, right?
That and just like I mean, I saw the Mothman Prophecies, which is a fantastic, super good movie. So good. My favorite Richard Gere movie because I'm not a Pretty Woman fan. So
that's like a sequel to the Butterfly Effect, right?
No, it is. Yes. The Butterfly Effect came out after the Mothman Prophecies. Thank you very much. I really like the Mothman Prophecies.
It's creeped me out, except for there's one moment where I think it's Richard Gere in the hotel room and he answers the phone and then it's like, "What's under the bed?" Chapstick. And I just lost it. My mouth went.
I keep them often frightened.
That's product placement though.
It was really funny. It was really funny.
Don't use chapstick, by the way.
Or the Mothman will get you.
It's a scam. No, it's a scam. There are chemicals in chapstick that actually dry out and irritate your lips, so that you need, guess what? more chapstick.
So the Mothman was warning you.
We're blowing this wide open.
It's momentary relief at best,
if
and
we
it
get
causes problems. You go for just grab a little bit of Vaseline. Just a little bit of Vaseline. Just put it on there.
If we get shut down, it's Blistax like knocking on our door. What do you know about the Mothman? You know nothing.
Well, Blistex is that also chapstick, or is that a competitor?
Blistex is a competitor.
They're a competitor.
Yeah.
So Blistex is good. They're happy.
Oh.
This episode brought to you by Blistex. Probably just as bad as chapstick.
Probably even worse. Yeah.
Corporate America is just trying to cause problems to make money.
Bleed us dry through our lips.
Mothman. Mothman is a resident of West Virginia, which is Lumley, Kentucky. Point Pleasant, which is a lovely ironic name. The first sightings happened in 1966. And how it goes is a brother and sister, teenager, driving around. Some say they were drunk, but that's neither here nor there.
Conjecture, I say.
Yeah. They saw a 6-foot-tall creature. They couldn't see any arms. It just had 2 massive wings and 2 little feet, and it was the red eyes. And these eyes were not. And it's almost like that's all they saw.
Yeah.
And the other was kind of in shadow. It not only was by the car kind of drove away, and they went to this old kind of World War II bunker.
Why would they go there?
Well, because they were trying to get away from this thing.
Well, I feel like
and it leaped on the car and would just stared at them. Ugh. So they did have a wonderfully good look, or terrifyingly good look at it.
So this is an encounter of the first kind.
This is
feeling like a kernel of fear.
This is like there was a dent on the car, so that it left physical evidence of something big.
No, wait, that's third kind, isn't it?
Yeah, third kind is
contact. Right?
First kind is you don't see anything. It leaves physical evidence. Second kind is you see something, but it's a little bit far away.
Yeah, so third kind.
Third kind is it is up in your biz, and you don't want it to be. So it checked him out and then leaped up or flew up onto the top of this bunker and kind of chilled there. The brother got out, threw some stones at it, which I don't know why you would do that.
Don't aggravate the.
This is a New England
prophetic demon.
This is a New England or East Coast like monster. Our monsters were pretty chill. Yeah. Those guys will like.
Don't throw rocks at our monsters either. No, because they don't do nothing to you.
Never throw rocks at any monsters.
Though I made a pact.
Throw rocks at other rocks. That's it. That's it. That's the only acceptable thing to throw a rock at is another rock.
Can I tell you, I made a pact with my husband when we were camping in Mount St. Helens. If we ever came across a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch or anything of the sort, we would hit it with our small car. That was
we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. But that's a pact I have.
Okay.
Yeah. So this Mothman thing, that was the first sighting, but it was also sighted after this kind of sighting came out in the news. It was actually seen several other places too. 5 construction workers saw it in a graveyard. There were teachers who saw it, politicians who saw it, and it was this rash of like within a year. Then in December 1967, the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant collapsed, and it killed 46 people. And after that, there were no sightings of the Mothman. Now, if that's connected, people say that the Mothman kind of predicted or was warning people of this catastrophe, or it brought the catastrophe. And actually, there's Mothman sightings like as far as Russia, and they say that there was sightings in 1986 before Chernobyl disaster happened. And that's where the whole Mothman
all over the world, like ahead of like tsunamis and earthquakes and like natural disasters as well as man-caused disasters.
Yeah. Now, the cryptid and the legend, I think, maybe are 2 separate things. But there was a book written called The Mothman Prophecies, which is the movie. And that's more of getting into this thing is almost like an omen. Yeah. But on the other side is something leapt on that car. These people are seeing something. And actually, there's 2 kind of explanations other than it is another animal we don't know. One is that Sawhill crane again. The same guy who they say is New Jersey Devil. And because when you look at its markings, it has really red around its eyes. It's very large. It could seem like it's about 6 foot. The other is a barn owl. And if you do look at like the descriptions, it is super the face is very almost heart-like and huge eyes, right? And that's why owls freak me out to this day.
Oh no!
You don't want to mess with an owl. Like, owls will go after you.
Oh yeah,
they don't care.
They have something to prove.
So maybe a giant mutant owl. But what's even more
they're pissed off about
crazy
about I swear to God.
What's even more crazy about this Mothman is another connection of another cryptid, or I guess UFO type thing, back in the same area in West Virginia in 1952 is the Flatwoods Monster. And those two kind of go hand in hand because big red eyes, kind of a heart-shaped flying, hovering thing. And lots of people saw that as well. So if we have a Flatwoods Monster and Mothman sort of go hand in hand.
Interesting.
And both are extremely terrifying. It doesn't seem like it, but it's just the eyes. It's the red glowing eyes in the night.
Was there a disaster after the Flatwoods Monster was first seen?
Well, the Flatwoods Monster is more of an alien, like, UFO crash, and then a bunch of boys saw this, and it kind of came into town. So a bunch of people in the town saw this thing during the day. It does not look the same.
Oh, that's not okay.
Yeah, during the day.
That's not okay. Because, like, this night business is like your mind plays tricks on you in the dark.
No,
right?
it was during the day.
During the day, and that's why M. Night Shyamalan's a hack. Let's all be clear. M. Night Shyamalan is a hack. But the movie Signs has one of the greatest scenes in film, in all of film. When that alien steps out in the broad daylight, and it turns out that he was standing there the whole time.
No, I hate it. Oh,
that's no good. They stole it in Jurassic World. Because the Indominus Rex does the same thing. But yeah. And the thing that is creepy about that scene, the most creepy about that scene, is that it is broad daylight.
It's broad daylight.
It's like this alien is not scared of you.
No.
It does not care.
Mothman.
It doesn't care.
Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster are kind of, I guess, cousins. Mothman is more of cryptid. Flatwoods Monster is more UFO alien type because there is a thing. And if you Google Flatwoods Monster, he's kind of like, he has a spade type head and he's like kind of floating like that. It's freaky for me, but I can see the owl connection as well. Mothman is just
weird.
Yeah, I see. He's cool, eh? There is physical evidence for that.
That's janky.
I don't like him. It looks like a nun.
He does kind of look like a nun. And Mothman is kind of the same sort of shape, but because he was in the night.
But here's the important piece that we're missing here is like people just seen an owl. That's what they saw.
Yeah.
This is clear. People just saw an owl.
Yeah.
Half of that's an owl and half of that's the Flatwoods Monster. You guys just Google it. It's like the 6th image that comes up.
So yeah,
definitive owl.
Mothman I love, but I also love that if it is a cryptid, then maybe it has connections with the flathead, the Flatwoods Monster. Just like Jersey Devil, Chupacabra, just like Dover Demon, Hopkins Kill.
So do you think maybe it's one and the same?
I think if it is a cryptid, if it is a creature, I think that if it has a breeding population. What's that one? Yeah, I don't like that. It's just the glowing eyes.
Some of these illustrations actually look an awful lot like a character from the popular children's television show Beast Machines. It was the sequel to Beasties in Canada, Beast Wars in
the
Transformers series.
Actually,
transforming plants.
Not the Dover Demon, but the Hopkins Kill Goblin was a Pokemon. Is Sableye. Yeah. Sableye is the Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I heard that they're going to do a Mothman Flatwoods Monster Pokemon.
Cool.
Because they're really popular in Japan. You can go and get little toys of them.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
This is the Sableye. That's the Sableye.
Yeah. So they look like the Hopkins. Okay. So Mothman, he scares me and may be connected to the Flatwoods Monster. Either way, 2 giant red eyes in the dark. I don't like it. You don't like it. You don't like it. We don't like it.
No.
We don't like it.
Okay. I hope you have something less spooky.
I 100% do.
Yeah, we're getting into fun territory.
Good. Because
Fun.
I am... Colin, if you're still watching, have all the lights on in the house. And I'll see you tonight. That's gonna be fun for you.
Okay, guys. Are you ready? Because we're talking Ogopogo.
Yes! Ogopogo.
So this is a definitively BC-based cryptid.
He's so cute.
And the place where it's reported to live is the Okanagan Lake, which if you're a BC person, you've probably been to at some point. So I'm gonna be straight with you guys about why this is my number one. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was a kid,
oh God.
It's okay. Crystal's on.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Everybody say hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Hello.
We're talking about creepy things, but now it's gonna be not so creepy because we're talking Ogopogo.
Yeah, we're talking Ogopogo.
Yeah.
Things are creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's why this is my favorite. When I was a kid, we used to go hiking all the time.
Yeah.
Every summer, we would truck out to some random part of BC and spend like a week on the trail. And we would always stay in a shitty motel. I'm sorry, an unpleasant motel. And beep. And
So the thing is live. I can't bleep it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No one heard it. It's fine.
Yeah, so there's a motel we would stay in a different, weird town every time. And this one time we stayed in this town in Okanagan, and it had a diner called the Ogopogo Eatery, and I ate a bowl of poutine that was so big and so delicious, and that's why it's my favorite.
Aww.
But I do love a lake monster. I love it because I'm terrified of what's under the surface of any body of water.
Even swimming pools.
Oh no, they're just awful.
Yeah.
And if you're in a hot tub, there are jets. You can't see the bottom. Anything.
You don't know what's in there.
Anything.
Okay, I'm not with you on the hot tub. Hot tubs are fine.
No, you know how much bacteria is in those?
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's a legitimate fear. That's a legitimate fear.
Ogopogo.
Crank up that chlorine. People.
What's his description? Like, I forget in terms of...
basically just like a long sea serpent.
It's a serpent.
He's supposed to be 40 to 50 feet long.
Oh my God.
And now this is another cryptid that started out as a sort of a legend, although the original legend from the First Nations was not like an actual serpent, but a water spirit.
Oh.
So it kind of was transformed over time. But now the major sighting of the Ogopogo was in 1926 on Okanagan Mission Beach, and it was supposedly witnessed by 30 cars of people. So
holy moly.
Really a lot.
Is it just cruising around? Is that what was happening?
Yeah, they all claimed to see a large wake moving across the water, and then later someone took footage of it, and a computer analysis showed that it was a solid 3-dimensional object causing the wake.
When was this?
The
video.
The computer analysis was done in 1968.
But the video?
The video was taken. I'm not sure.
Can you Google the video, Mike? I don't think I've seen it. I didn't know Ogopogo had like evidence like that. I had no idea.
And then in 2011, there was a cell phone video that was probably logs.
Okay.
But
to be fair, most monsters like that are probably logs.
Yeah.
But this guy,
Now the name Ogopogo is interesting because it actually originates from a 1924 English music hall song called "The Ogopogo, the Funny Foxtrot," and the song had like the posters that advertised the song had a monster on it, and I'll let you hold that up. And so this is described
he's kind of cute.
A boot-wearing, antenna-sporting, banjo-playing, pixie-like monster from Hindustan.
Oh, that's slightly racist.
So it is a slightly racist representation.
So how did it get from Ogopogo, that guy, to Ogopogo or our Ogopogo?
I'm not sure. Well, you know what? He does have scales. He does have a somewhat swamp monster-like appearance.
Yeah.
He's got a little fishtail.
I thought it was like an Aboriginal name.
No.
I would have guessed.
No, the Aboriginal name is Naitaka, which means lake demon.
Wow.
And that's
crazy.
Salish.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, no, he's just like a straight-up serpent, much like the Cabrosaurus.
Oh, yeah, Cabrosaurus. Well, Cabrosaurus is a globster.
Is Cabrosaurus a globster?
He was a globster. A globster. Oh.
Or is that not? Okay.
I don't have globster.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about globsters,
okay. Globsters are, I kid you not, a cryptid, but it's like the dead corpse of a cryptid that have washed up. So they call them globsters. Usually it's like pieces of whale, but Cadbrosaurus in Victoria was this very long sea serpent-like corpse that washed up in Victoria, and they took pictures of it, and now that's Cadbrosaurus.
See, this is why I like water-based cryptids, because there could be anything in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's so much of the ocean that we haven't explored. Like, there are so many cryptids waiting to be found, and then to be, proven as well, to move from cryptozoology to zoology, basically.
Yeah.
Like so many things to speculate
in the
on.
ocean. Oh man.
So many strange things, like remember when we discovered that octopus with the elbow arms? Or
Yeah.
The squid
Oh
with the
yeah,
elbow
the
arms?
little drifty drift things.
Crazy.
Can you imagine discovering the vampire squid?
Oh, I can't.
And how terrifying! Like, oh, yeah. There's some creepy stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you know the last sighting of Ogopogo?
I think the last sighting that was sort of like major or made news was the
cell phone
2011 cell phone video. So
I'm trying to find, and I think that's all I'm finding.
Yeah.
Oh no, I guess this video is from 2008. Maybe
it's the original one.
Yeah. Well, the video, there was a National Geographic
2001.
Channel TV
This
show.
is from 2001.
Oh. And it's hard because there's wakes.
Yeah.
So being someone who's from the Okanagan and someone who's driven the highway from Penticton to Kelowna many, many times, and not only driven it but sat in the car bored out of my mind
Watching
the
water.
Yeah.
A lot of the time you get like actually just air currents.
Yeah.
It's not even like, it's not a log, it's nothing.
It's hard.
It's just you'll just get air currents especially because Okanagan Lake is a glacier lake, so it's in a valley left over by a glacier.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll get the wind that like just rips through the valley and along the surface of the water, and it'll actually cause a wake. And it'll cause these wakes that kind of move like this.
Interesting.
So like they move side to side and then kind of like out. So you'll see it constantly and many, many times as like a 9 to 11-year-old kid, I would be like, is that it? And my dad would be like, no, that's another wake. And my dad, I'll never forget it because he said it to me at least 10 times over the course of my life. If you see Ogopogo, you'll know. Like if you see it, you'll know that you saw it. Like you won't ask the question. You will say, "Stop the car." That's Ogopogo.
Because you'll see the little like.
Yeah, because you see like the common explanation for Ogopogo, and I think the most logical explanation, there are sturgeon in Okanagan Lake, and Okanagan Lake is very, very deep. And I think you were about to talk about the National Geographic
the special
documentary that they did.
On Ogopogo?
They couldn't at the time. Now maybe we could now, but nobody really cares and nobody really wants to spend the money on it.
I care.
Maybe James Cameron will do it eventually, but at the time that they did that, we didn't have the sophisticated technology to go to the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
Because the lake is so deep that you like and it because it's a lake and not the ocean. There's people moving furniture upstairs. It's just ghosts. It's just ghosts.
I don't know if I want to do a ghost round table.
But I because it's a lake and there's so much sediment. Yeah. You get to a certain point in the lake and it's irrelevant. You take whatever instruments you want down there. It doesn't matter because it's just silt. Like you can't see 2 inches in front of you. So you couldn't take a manned submersible down there and see anything. The only hope that you would really have would be to go down there and do something thermal. But even then,
who knows what you could,
like you could hit on anything. But sturgeons are actually very fond of going to the bottom of lakes and hanging out there. So
and they're huge.
Yeah, and sturgeons can get very big.
Yeah.
And anybody who's had goldfish can tell you that fish tend to grow to the size of the body of water that you put them in. So if you have little goldfish and you get a little goldfish bowl, they won't get much bigger than cartoon goldfish. But if you get a big fish tank and you fill it with goldfish, one goldfish is going to eat all those goldfish. That's just what's going to happen.
They turn cannibalism, and we've come full circle.
Wendy goldfish.
Wendy goldfish. There you go. but they'll get as big as that tank will allow.
So
right?
there
as
is
that
a
ecosystem will allow. So
delicious...
sturgeon can get like we're talking like longer than a man lying down.
Yeah, they're huge.
Sturgeon can get
and they're
really
cool looking. They're
cool. And they have little like ridges on their
like
backs.
a dinosaur. Yeah.
So it's very plausible that what people have seen have been very large sturgeon over the years, right? Cool. The other explanation is that it's a dinosaur.
Oh yeah, it's a full-on dinosaur.
And I like to believe that it's a
there's so many.
Let's be really clear. Technically, it wouldn't be a dinosaur. It would be an aquatic. It would be an aquatic reptile.
Yes.
But I something that people would classically consider a dinosaur.
But here's the most important thing about the Ogopogo is that whenever I think of the Ogopogo, I remember the first time I ever ate poutine.
There you go.
That's the first time you ever ate poutine?
That was the first time. It was a giant bowl.
How old were you?
Oh, I don't know, like 7 or 8.
I guess that's acceptable.
I was a child. I was given a giant bowl of poutine. I was very happy.
It's the West Coast. It's not.
I guess
poutine's more of an East Coast.
I guess so.
It's only in recent years, I think, that poutine
off my mom's teat into a bowl of poutine.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it in Ontario. That's why I was a very round child.
They just rolled you.
Oh God, butterball.
That's awesome.
I was adorable. Okay, let's do number 1. We have been wanting to talk about this.
Number 1. This is not only my number 1. I think this might be all of our number ones. And this isn't just number 1 on my list. This is number 1 in my heart. And that is the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, Skookum, as he's locally referred to. Which also just Skookum is also another way of saying awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's just cool. That's pretty Skookum.
And it's also
that's
really
a Skookum skateboard you got there,
pal.
Yeah, okay. So the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and or Skookum is. I mean, do I really need to go into this? We all know what the Bigfoot is. We've all seen Harry and the Hendersons. If you haven't, get around to it. Watch yourself some Harry and the Hendersons. If you have seen Harry and the Hendersons and you say to yourself, "There's not enough Harry and the Hendersons," watch the live-action television series, Harry and the Hendersons. If that's not good enough for you...
There was a live-action.
Yeah, there was. If that's not good enough for you, you go on YouTube and you find yourself the animated series. I
am learning stuff today. I loved Harry.
Look, there's a reason why Sasquatch is numero uno on this list. So Bigfoot, Sasquatch. I prefer to call him the Squatch. We're on a first name basis.
Squatchy.
Okay, so Quatchy, this is how big of a deal the Sasquatch is in popular culture. We had the Olympics here back in 2010, and Quatchy was one of the we have a Quatchy blanket, and he should really be on this.
Oh, he was arguably the cutest.
He was the most adorable.
For sure.
I have one.
You know what? I'll be honest. I don't even remember the other one.
Oh no, names. Who would?
One was one
whale bear.
Quatchy, you got the spirit bear.
But she was also a whale too.
She's a
whale.
And
then one of them was a bear that wore a Thunderbird costume.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
She was like,
and
a little marmot too.
The whale bear is the spirit bear that turns into a whale. Is actually like a weird misappropriation of another First Nation legend.
Yeah.
Which is a totally other thing that we don't need to get into. But there's the sea wolf legend, which is where orcas come from in Haida legend, which is that there's a man and he was on an island by himself, and there was just these 2 wolves on the island with him, and every day the wolves would swim out to sea and catch fish for him and bring them back. And eventually one of the deities Muck was the beaver. He was the little beaver.
I thought he was a marmot.
Was he a marmot?
I think he was a marmot. He was a mascot for the mascot.
Yeah, he was the mascot for the mascot. But these wolves would go out into the ocean and they would catch fish. And I don't remember which one of the deities got mad, but it might have been Raven, because Raven was big on transforming people into other things. So one of these deities, one of the Haida gods, got mad at these wolves for going to the ocean and taking the fish for this man, and cursed them to live in the ocean forever and turn them into the first orcas.
Cool.
And then the man rode the back of one of the orcas back to the mainland, back to where he had come from. And then orcas were in the ocean. So there's an accompanying legend that goes along with that of an animal of an orca that could return to land and could turn into basically a giant wolf, and it was like a wolf with an orca's tail and a big fin on its back, like a sail fin on its back. That is really cool. And it's awesome. And its name is totally escaping me right now. If you go on my DeviantArt though, you can find I named one of my art pieces after it. It wasn't specifically of that, but I named it.
So let's talk about Squatchy Squatch.
Back to Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That was a long way around. Back to Bigfoot. But that's another cryptid, I guess technically. So Bigfoot he's big. He's tall. Some people think that it might be a missing link between great apes and man. Or possibly and other types of hominids.
It's in
my anthropology degree doesn't think so.
No. Okay.
Or some people think it's a actual like great ape that we haven't discovered yet.
Yeah. So, I think that's much more likely.
Yeah. So the most likely scenario for Sasquatch is that Sasquatch is just an animal. A descendant of Australopithecus, which is basically were giant apes. I mean, like they were these really large apes.
They're really cool.
Found in North America, in one of those times.
Oh
no, in Africa.
Yeah, no Australopithecus in North America.
Okay.
I know we have you, Alison.
There's something though, isn't it? There is an extinct species of ape in North America.
Yeah, that came over the land bridge. Before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm mixing things up there, but in any case, it is like basically a descendant, an evolved version of one of these other great apes that has gone
survived.
Extinct. And
survived.
These animals have survived, and that they would be highly intelligent, very social animals, and that's why we can't find them, because if you didn't want to be found, you could probably not be found, right? If you were in the woods and you were listening.
Yeah, especially
very recluses out there.
Yeah, like that's where you lived and that was your jam, right? And you were specifically suited evolutionarily to hang out in the woods and not be found, right? Yeah. So that's the most likely situation going on there. There are other cryptids related to Sasquatch. Sasquatch is specifically Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there are other of the Bigfoot sort of family. Most notably is the Yeti, which in the Himalayas, basically the same thing as a Bigfoot, just white fur instead of brown fur.
Yeah.
And hanging out in the Himalayas in a cold climate. The skunk ape in the southern United States. He's my favorite. Yeah.
He's smelly.
So named for his stankiness.
And that's the thing, right? If you have this creature, I mean, I believe even there's one in Australia.
And in Asia, one that's supposed to be possibly like an orangutan.
An orangutan orange, that's right. If you have this thing that people have seen throughout, especially our Bigfoot and Sasquatch, there has to be something.
So that's my thing. Is that now we're all familiar with the famous video of Bigfoot. It's the classic image of Bigfoot. Yeah, there you go.
He's my favorite.
Everybody's seen that.
It's not the Zapruder film. It's the Patterson film. I mixed those two up.
Okay.
One is JFK. One is Bigfoot.
You don't particularly like if you're gonna mix up two videos. Probably not the ones to mix up.
They're my two Okay.
By the way,
what?
and you know what? We should do a roundtable when the time comes, when the lone gunmen show up on Double X Files.
Yeah.
On the X Files and Double X Files.
Yeah.
We should do an episode talking about conspiracy theories.
Oh, hell
because
yeah.
in 2017, legally, all of the documents involving the JFK assassination have to be made public. Yeah. So guess what? We're gonna find out. We're gonna.
Today is actually the anniversary
of his death.
Yeah.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, let's just start talking about JFK.
No,
I almost wrote my thesis, my master's thesis on him. So.
Okay, well, there will be time for that.
Okay,
in the future.
good.
Don't take the spotlight away from the Squatch.
Yeah, Squatch deserves it. He's been waiting.
He has so many reality TV shows already,
and so many beer commercials.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Oh
yeah. He sells Courtney beer like no other. I mean, to the point that they were like, you know what, we're getting kind of tired of making these Sasquatch commercials.
Should ease off.
We're gonna slow our roll on that.
Get rid of the Quatch. Bring in some more hot girls.
And jerky.
People got mad. People got mad,
really?
And so they had to bring back the Squatch. Yeah,
because he's like
there was a whole campaign. It was a
bring
whole
back
thing.
the Quatch.
Yeah, they brought him back, and then they very quickly got rid of him again. To be perfectly honest, nobody's watching.
He sells
anymore,
he sells jerky down in the southern United States too.
He also sells jerky.
He's
a frequent guest star on the Big Honkin' Show, which is a podcast and live show. In fact, I don't know. I think Steve might be doing one
right now,
counter programming to this.
Oh no!
At the moment. Our friend Steve Glosson of the Geek Out Loud podcast network.
He gets Sasquatch on his?
Well, they talk about the Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
He's a common topic of discussion on the Big Honkin' Show.
I mean, he's so great.
So much so that there are commercials and that stuff. In fact, I even made an audio commercial for the show. So that's a good excuse to go over there. And
we're done with our asses.
Not right now.
I mean, butts.
You can. Oh, it's okay.
Sorry.
PG-13. That's 2. We're good. No more.
We've had our one.
We each had one.
So
everybody gets one.
Mike gets to drop the F-bomb, and we'll be fine.
That still technically makes us PG-13.
Yeah, it does.
But I did a commercial for Vidal Sasquatch. For all your Sasquatch grooming needs.
Oh my goodness.
He must have been so. He must be so mad.
He had beautiful hair. It's a whole thing. You gotta go over and listen to the Big Honkin' Show to understand where all that's coming from. But the thing with the Sasquatch is that we do have physical evidence. Now, the physical evidence is definitely wide open, and a lot of the conclusions are based on conjecture.
Yeah.
And just a lot of sort of Mulder level jumping to conclusions, leaps of spooky faith.
Yeah.
Because we have, obviously, he's Bigfoot. We have all these foot casts. And
hair.
And hair.
Yeah.
And something out there in the woods is leaving this physical evidence behind.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it's people. We know that because there are lots of hoaxsters. But we also know that especially through the hair samples and through DNA analysis, that there are animals in the woods in North America that we cannot account for. They're not. They could possibly be related to other animals, and most of the time that is chimpanzees and other apes and that sort of thing. But sometimes they're completely off of any of our charts. We don't know what they are. No, it's a completely different species, and we don't have anything to link it up to. We also don't have a wealth of evidence. It's
here and there. Right?
Yeah, and there are Bigfoot hunters, Sasquatch hunters, and that sort of thing.
It's Animal Planet.
There are people who do this for a living,
which is so cool.
Yeah,
but terrifying.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm glad they're out there doing it because I don't have the guts.
Yeah, I don't. Because there might be a Dover demon out there
for
as
sure.
well.
Yeah.
Let's be really clear. It's not so much the Squatch that I'm afraid of because
it's the other thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Now, I'm not one to partake, but if you just carried a bag of weed with you into the woods, I don't think you'd have any problems with the Squatch because
he seems pretty chill.
Yeah, I think he'd be you just be like, hey man, let's hang out, and it's I'm good, but this is for you. That would be my approach.
Like a Cookie Monster situation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I don't think he doesn't even the Squatch doesn't even waste time with rolling and smoking it.
Yeah.
He just munches. He just straight through
a digestive system that can
sure,
handle it.
For sure. For those who don't know, in British Columbia, if you go hiking and you go off the beaten path,
or even on the path,
or even on the path in some areas, don't, because it's very dangerous and you're dumb if you go off the beaten path if you're not trained, yada yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. That's our public service announcement.
Yes.
But if you go very very small off the beaten path, not very far off the beaten path, you'll just find weed growing in the woods.
And that's what Sasquatch is.
You will just find it. So
sometimes on the roundabouts in the streets of Vancouver.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, so it's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm going to round us out that Sasquatch is the most awesome of all.
Okay, so I'm going to say don't hit the Sasquatch with your car.
Oh, but, okay.
Don't do it.
But
don't
I was going to say.
Sasquatch. Hunt for evidence of the Sasquatch.
But I was going to say, because we have all this hair and actually blood samples, and we need a body.
Sure.
We do need a body.
Absolutely.
And I am willing to sacrifice my small Yaris to get that body.
Okay, that's fair. I'm glad that you're willing to sacrifice your Yaris in the pursuit of science.
And probably us.
as someone who doesn't abide the keeping of cetaceans in captivity for the purposes of entertainment, I also cannot abide the intentional death of Sasquatch.
But
even for scientific purposes,
really,
if this creature exists, it's already on the endangered species list.
I guess so.
So if you don't like them hunting Cecil the lion, you can't be okay with hunting Sasquatch.
If I saw Sasquatch,
yeah, and
I had that story and no one believed me, it would just drive me nuts. So I would want to drag a body, tag a body, Harry and the Henderson style on top of the car.
That's fair. So I would say keep tranquilizer darts with you when you go on road trips through the BC wilderness.
Okay, I'll do that.
Because I am personally of the opinion that the reason why these animals are so hard to catch is because they're sentient, they're self-aware, and they're highly intelligent, the same as dolphins and a lot of whales. And so to go out and hunt one and kill one,
that's not
even
good.
in the pursuit of science,
but if
I think
walks across the road,
there's a moral.
Incidentally, we need a body is something you're going to hear me say if we're trapped in plane crash situations.
There you go.
We need a body. Looking at Courtney. I know you work out. I know your thighs are so delicious.
Okay.
Tender.
No, they're hard. Be like eating kangaroo.
Okay.
Okay, so we're almost at 9 o'clock, so we got to do our honorable mention very, very quickly. We'll go backwards. Why don't you go your do yours.
So my honorable mention is just a fun one, and that's the jackalope, which the jackalope is really easy to explain. Some guy caught a rabbit, and he had also caught something with antlers, and decided that he would prank his buddies and tell them. And I mean, this goes into your postcard.
It was. You can
that's all it was.
Totally.
It was just a taxidermist having fun with people. The jackalope, for those who don't know, is basically a jackrabbit, a hare with antlers. And we have no reason to believe that any rabbit at any point in time has ever had antlers, because there's no scientific evidence whatsoever of anything at any point, of anything related to a rabbit.
There's actually, the one thing they do say is that it's a rabbit with a really bad case of warts. Okay. And then the warts get the, you can look it up. It looks really gross.
Like bumpy.
You know how sometimes humans grow horns?
No, I don't.
Sometimes
other than in television programs.
No. Sometimes humans grow, and it's the same material as our fingernail. And it's a wart. It's a giant wart. They say that maybe the rabbits, and they have caught some with like warty stuff. Okay. And it comes from humans. It comes from us. And they say that might be an explanation of why they got it. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Well,
there was a jackalope on not funniest home. What was the America's Funniest Home Videos? Was the Bob Saget one? Yeah. What was the Dave Coulier one?
Full House.
Funniest People. America's Funniest People.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, and he had a character that was a jackalope.
Aww,
that was basically just his woodchuck voice.
Oh no!
And it was like a little puppet that they would run around and like do silly things with, and then he would do a more silly, obnoxious voiceover.
Come on, Dave.
Okay.
You ought to know.
And there's a reason why Dave Coulier doesn't really have a career in television.
Oh, he's a cryptid. Go ahead, Alison. What's your number 2?
You mean my honorable mention?
Your honorable mention.
My honorable mention is Bat Squatch.
Oh, yeah.
So Bat Squatch is like a large bat Sasquatch. That
2 of our favorite things.
Yeah, totally. He's been sighted around the Mount St. Helens area.
Yeah,
so Washington. Yeah. And he's just like a big 6 to 7 foot tall bat furry Sasquatch creature.
Which is terrifying.
Terrifying.
I think it was just a Sasquatch that found somebody's Batman comic book. I was like, you know what? Good idea.
They'll never believe this.
Punch a bat in the face, put it on his head.
Or maybe it's like,
Batman.
Well, they're tracking us, Sasquatches, so I need to become something else.
Yeah.
And we need to terrify the other way.
I need to be someone else. I need to become something else. That's for the Quiver fans.
Hey.
For all you arrowheads out there.
Oh my god, there's crazy. Okay.
Oh, it's just people moving furniture upstairs.
We have been talking about creepy
fine.
things. Okay, I'm going to go to the least creepy thing. My honorable mention, which is in my childhood dearly, is Jake the Alligator Man. And I need everyone right now to Google Jake the Alligator Man.
I'm going to Google it.
Please do. It's he is a Fijian mermaid, so it is very jackalope, where you take a corpse of a monkey or something and attach it to something else. Jake is very crispy. And that's the only way to describe him. His home. Oh,
I got you. I've seen Jake the Alligator.
Have you seen it? Good. If you've been to Long Beach, Washington, you have seen Jake the Alligator Man.
Oh,
I know, he's great, hey?
I don't want a hat anymore.
No, you're going to get a hat. He lives in Marsh's Free Museum, which is home to many beautiful taxidermied cryptids, such as a werewolf that is actually a deer butt with owl eyes, and 2-headed things and of the such. But Jake the Alligator Man is a star.
That's offensive to werewolves.
I know it is.
Offensive.
It's so gross.
That's offensive, and it's racist, is what it is.
It's so gross.
That's how I.
So Jake the Alligator Man is so famous that every year they have a Mrs. Alligator Man. So they have a beauty contest in Long Beach, Washington, and you can be the wife of Jake. And that is my goal in life now. Okay.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
It's attainable. I think that's the key to a good goal.
I can't find a Sasquatch, but I can
dream big, but dream realistic.
Well, I've already started the papers. I'm sorry, Colin.
You heard it here
first. What a way to find out.
This is swoop, like the Sasquatch. Okay, it is 8:59, so I'm going to call it. Thank you. Remember to listen to the Double X-Files podcast. Yep. That's where these 2 jerks are from.
Yeah.
And also this jerk has like 6 other ones. You can throw a stone at ThunderQuack podcast and hit Mike.
Yeah.
Don't throw stones.
Only throw rocks at rocks. We established this earlier.
I love how we have like a thing. What's your is the Pullbox podcast coming out? The
Pullbox podcast, the next episode should be out.
That's what I thought.
Tomorrow morning.
There you go.
If Curtis is on his game, which he generally is.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry too much about Curtis, but he likes to release those on the 1st.
Cool.
So yeah, that'll be a nice. So hopefully a Saturday morning treat for you guys.
Yeah.
You can eat your cereals and read your comic books and listen to the Pullbox podcast.
Yeah, and also the Double X-Files.
Yeah, our episode 4 is coming out on Tuesday at noon.
And Conduit, and then we are recording number 5, the Jersey Devil, tomorrow. And so you will, if you listen to number 5, you'll hear my Jersey Devil story.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So thank you from the 3 of us, and thank you all those people who have been watching. And I hope you sleep well tonight.
I won't,
because something might be outside your window.
Oh, good.
You know what?
Bye.
I'm gonna end it on a happy note.
Okay, happy note.
If you're in BC like we are,
yeah.
If there is something outside your window, don't worry, because Sasquatch is gonna punch it in the face for you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Beep.